theory of hydrogen can be extended with some modifications to the so-called exotic atoms, in which either the proton or the electron is replaced by some other particle. Exotic atoms means atoms in which one or more subatomic particles have been replaced by other particles of the same charge. For instance, one can make muonic hydrogen, pionic hydrogen, positronium, muonium, and so on. Of course, these exotic states are highly unstable, but many of them last long enough to exhibit a well-defined spectrum. That is, we can have positronium that produces a spectrum similar to the hydrogen spectrum. However, in the case of positronium, the non-relativistic Schrodinger equation has to be corrected for relativistic effects. It comes in two varieties depending on the sum of the spins of the electron and positron. Parapositronium pp's with the total spin equal to 0 and orthopositronium OP's, which is a triplet with the total spin 1. pp's is slightly lighter due to the spin-spin interaction. This difference of masses, called hyperfine splitting, offers one of the most accurate tests of bound state theory based on quantum electrodynamics. The positronium or electron-positron bound state is a particularly simple system which offers the unique opportunities for testing our understanding of bound states in the frame of quantum electrodynamics, because its constituents are much lighter by a factor of about 200 than any other non-charged particle like muons or pions. The spectrum and lifetime of positronium states can be understood with very high precision within an effective theory of electrons and photons. Electrons and photons are well-studied particles, and the comparison of theoretical predictions with experiments constrains a variety of new physics phenomena such as axions, milli-charged particles, paraphotons, etc. In addition, the opportunity of testing the predictions with high accuracy stimulates the development of theoretical tools which can also be applied in other areas of physics such as quantum chromodynamics. The most clearly visible difference between positronium and hydrogen is that we are no longer dealing with a heavy, essentially stationary nucleus around which the electron orbits, but rather with two particles of equal masses both orbiting about the common center. As in classical mechanics, this two-body problem can be converted into an equivalent one-body problem with the reduced mass m reduced equals m1 m2 by m1 plus m2. In the case of positronium, m1 equal to m2 equal to m, so m reduced is equal to m divided by 2, and we get unperturbed energy levels by the simple substitution of m by 2 in the Bohr formula given by the equation En equals minus m e to the power 4 divided by 2h cross square n square equals minus alpha square mc square divided by 2n square equals minus 13.6 electron volt divided by c square. Therefore, En positronium equals half En equals minus alpha square mc square divided by 4n square with n equals 1, 2, 3, etc. For example, the ground state binding energy is 13.6 electron volt by 2 equals 6.8 electron volts. The wave function are the same as in the case of hydrogen atom given by the equations here, except that the Bohr radius, which goes like 1 by m, is doubled. That is, A positronium equals 2A equals 1.06 into 10 to the power minus 8 centimeter or 1.06 Armstrong. In positronium, the hyperfine splitting is of the same order as the fine structure alpha to the power 4 mc square, since the mass ratio m by mp that suppresses the proton spin effects in hydrogen is 1 for positronium, whereas 1 by 1876 for hydrogen. In the case of hydrogen, the reduced mass differs from the electron mass by only a very small amount, about 0.05%. Nevertheless, technically, the m in Bohr formula is the reduced mass, and this leads to the observable differences between the spectra of hydrogen and deuterium. The perturbations run much as before, with one dramatic exception in positronium. The hyperfine splitting is of the same order as the fine structure alpha to the power 4 mc square, since the mass ratio m by mp that suppresses proton spin effects in hydrogen is 1 for positronium. Meanwhile, since the nucleus E plus is no longer stationary, there is a new correction due to finite propagation time for the electromagnetic field. Its contribution is also of the order of alpha to the power 4 mc square. When all this is put together, the fine structure formula for positronium is found to be EFS positronium equals alpha to the power 4 mc square divided by 2n cube into 11 divided by 32n minus 1 plus half epsilon divided by 2l plus 1, where epsilon equal to 0 for singlet spin combination, whereas for triplet minus 3l plus 4 divided by L plus 1 into 2L plus 3 for J equals L plus 1 divided by L plus 1 for J is equal to L, and 3L minus 1 divided by L into 2L minus 1 for J equals L minus 1. The Lamb shift of the order of alpha to the power 5 mc square makes a small correction to this. However, since the degeneracy is already broken at the fine structure level in positronium, this contribution loses its interest. There is, however, an entirely new perturbation with no analog in hydrogen, the resulting from the fact that E plus and E minus can annihilate temporarily to produce a virtual photon. In the Feynman picture, this process is represented by the diagram in the figure shown, because it requires that the electron and positron coincide. This perturbation is proportional to modulus psi 0 square, and hence occurs only when L equal to 0, psi goes like r to the power L near the origin. Moreover, Since the photon carries spin 1, it takes place only in triplet configuration. This process raises the energy of the triplet S state by an amount delta E annihilation equals alpha to the power 4 mc square into 1 by n cube, where L is equal to 0, S equal to 1, the same order as the fine structure. In positronium, various combinations of angular momentum cause only minute shift in energy, but in charmonium the shifts are much larger. At 6.8 electron volts, positronium dissociates. At 633 MeV, above the energy of the psi charmonium becomes quasi-bound because it can decay into D0 and D0 bar mesons. What is the energy required to dissociate hydrogen? That is 13.6 electron volts. For a particle physicist, hydrogen is just the bound state of two particles, proton and electron. In one of the previous lectures, while explaining the stability of protons and neutrons, it was mentioned that when a proton is knocked out from the nucleus, it picks up an electron to form a hydrogen atom, whereas when a neutron is knocked out, it decays into proton and the electron, and the excess energy is thrown out as neutrino, satisfying the conservation laws, particularly conservation of angular momentum. The complete splitting of n is equal to 1 and n is equal to 2 Bohr levels in positronium is indicated on the figure shown. In the hydrogen, where the proton spins, sp contributes only at the hyperfine level, we use J for the sum of the electron spin and orbital angular momentum. J equals L plus SE. Now, for the total angular momentum, we need a new letter F equals L plus SE plus SP. In the positronium, the two spins contribute on an equal footing, and it is customary to combine them first, S equals S1 plus S2, and then use J for total. J equals L plus S1 plus S2. As in the case of hydrogen, positronium can make transitions from one stable to another state with the emission or absorption of a photon, whose wavelength is determined by the difference in energy between the two levels. Unlike hydrogen, positronium can also disintegrate completely, the positron annihilating the electron to produce two or more real photons. The charge conjunction number for the positronium is -1 to the power L plus S, while for n photon, C equals -1 to the power n. Thus, charge conjunction invariance prescribes the selection rule -1 to the power L plus S equals -1 to the power n for the decay of the positronium from the state Ls to n photons. Since the positron and electron overlap only when L equal to 0, such decays occur only from S states. Evidently, the singlet S is equal to 0 must go to an even number of photons, typically 2, whereas the triplet S is equal to 1 must go to an odd number of photons, typically 3. The lifetime of the ground state tau equals 2h cross divided by alpha to the power 5 mc square equals 1.25 into 10 to the power minus 10 seconds. Now let us see quarkonium. In the quark model, all mesons are two-particle bound states, Q1, Q2 bar, and it is natural to ask if the methods developed for hydrogen and positronium can be applied to mesons as well. Light quark UDS states are intrinsically relativistic. So, any analysis based on the Schrodinger equation is out of question. But heavy quark mesons CC bar, BC bar and BB bar should be suitable candidates. Even here, the interaction energy E is such substantial fraction of the total that we have to regard the various energy levels as representing different particles with masses given by m equals m1 plus m2 plus E divided by c square. Unlike hydrogen and positronium, in which the forces at work are entirely electromagnetic and the energy levels can be calculated to great precision, quarks are bound states by the strong force. We don't know what potential to use in place of Coulomb's law, or what the strong analog to magnetism might be to obtain the spin coupling. In principle, these are derivable from chromodynamics, but no one yet knows how to do this calculation. Still, we can make some educated guesses because chromodynamics is very similar in structure to electrodynamics, except for some nonlinear terms which, in the light of asymptotic freedom, probably don't contribute much at shorter distance. In quantum chromodynamics, the short distance behavior is dominated by one gluon exchange, just as in QED it is dominated by one photon exchange. Since the gluon and the photon are both massless spin-1 particles, the interactions are identical, apart from the overall coupling strength and various color factors, which results from counting the number of different gluons that contribute to a given process. At short range, we expect a Coulomb-like potential V proportional to 1 by R and a fine structure that is qualitatively similar to that of positronium. On the other hand, at larger distances, we have to account for quark confinement. The potential must increase without limits. The precise functional form of VR at large R is rather speculative. Some authors favor a harmonic oscillator potential V proportional to R square, others logarithmic dependence V proportional log R, and still others a linear potential V proportional to R, corresponding to a constant force. The fact is, any of this can match the data reasonably well because they do not differ substantially over the narrow range of distances for which we have sensitive probes. For our purpose, we choose VR equals minus 4 by 3 alpha s cross c divided by R plus F0R, where alpha s is the chromodynamic analog to the fine structure constant and 4 by 3 is the appropriate color factor. Unfortunately, exact solution to the Schrodinger equation with the linear plus Coulomb potential are not known, and we cannot give a simple formula for the Bohr energies. However, it can be done numerically, and F0 can be chosen so as to fit the data. The result is about 16 tons or 900 MeV by femtometer, which is to say that a quark and anti-quark attract one another with a force of at least 16 tons, regardless of how far apart they are. This perhaps makes it easier to understand why no one has ever managed to pull a free quark out of a meson. Thus, even though nucleons are not elementary particles, it is impossible to split them, or at least so far nobody managed to pull quark out of a meson. At extremely short distances, F0 and alpha s themselves decrease, leading to asymptotic freedom, but here we treat them as constants. Charmonium. Mesons formed by a bound state of a charm quark and a charm anti-quark are generally known as charmonium. Its discovery was made independently by two research groups, one at the Stanford Linear Accelerator Center headed by Bertrand Richter and one at Brookhaven National Laboratory headed by Samuel Ting of MIT. They discovered the same particle and both announced their discoveries on 11th November 1974. The importance of this discovery is highlighted by the fact that the subsequent rapid changes in the high energy particle physics at the time have become collectively known as the November Revolution. Richter and Ting were awarded the 1976 Nobel Prize in Physics. Shortly before the discovery of the Xi meson, the ground state of charmonium, Appelquist and Politzer suggested that if a heavy charm quark existed, it should form a non-relativistic bound state CC bar with a spectrum of energy levels similar to positronium. They called this system charmonium. When the Xi was found in 1974, it was quickly identified as the 1,3s1 state of charmonium. In the SLSC experiments, the Xi was produced from E plus E minus annihilation through a virtual photon. E plus E minus decays to gamma to psi. So, it has to carry the same quantum number as gamma, in particular spin 1. Thus, it could not be the ground state of charmonium, but it was the lowest lying state with total angular momentum 1. The positronium energy level diagram shown earlier, we anticipate a spin 0 state at lower mass, the 1s0 and 6n is equal to 2 configurations, that is 4 p's and 2s. Within 2 weeks, the Xi primes 2,3s1 was found. It again carries the same spin and parity as the photon. It was produced in the same way as the Xi, simply by turning up the beam energy. In due course, all the n equal to 1 and n equal to 2 states were discovered at a predicted mass of about 3500 MeV by c square. All chammonium states with n equal to 1 and n equal to 2 are relatively long-lived because suppression of strong decays. For n is equal to or greater than 3, the chammonium masses lie above the threshold for production of two chammed D mesons, D0 and D0 bar, at a mass of about 1865 MeV by c square, or D plus or minus at 1869 MeV by c square. Their lifetimes are therefore much shorter, and we call them quasi-bound states. The quasi-bound state of chammonium have been observed going up at least as high as n equal to 5. In the aftermath of November Revolution, there was widespread speculation about the possible existence of a third quark generation, B and T, and in 1976, Edson and Gottfried predicted that botamonium BB bar would exhibit a hierarchy of bound states even richer than chammonium. The bottom analog to the D meson had an estimated mass large enough that not only the n equal to 1 and n equal to 2, but also the n equals 3 level should be found. In the year 1977, the epsilon meson was discovered and immediately interpreted as the 1,3s1 state of the botamonium. At present, the 3s1 states have been found for the n up to 6, as well as the 6 3p states for n equal 2 and n equals 3. The level spacing in the psi and gamma systems are remarkably similar, in spite of the fact that the bottom quark is more than 3 times as heavy as the charm quark.